Welcome back to All About AI's podcast. I am your host, Faiza Ehsan. Today on the podcast, I am joined by Renuka, an AI strategist who helps businesses turn AI into real measurable outcomes without the complexity. Thank you so much, Renuka, for joining here.
Thank you so much, Faiza, for having me over. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Great. So, for our listeners, I would like to let you know that she's passionate about making AI practical and human centered. And she's also the host of a podcast host of Latency and Latte, where she breaks down complex AI topics for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for a lovely introduction.
All right. So, Renika, how did your journey evolve from data analytics to becoming an AI product strategist and a podcast host?
Absolutely. So I pivoted my career twice. Actually, I started my graduate and my undergrad in biotechnology. I work in research and development for close to 5 years. And so while working with experiments, working with hardcore lab side, I discovered data because eventually when you work with the experiments, you have data, you have results. And so this is how my data analytics journey started. Then I came to US. I did my another master's in business analytics and project management. There I discovered about the data science actually. What does it mean? And then my research background kicks in here, and I love patterns and problem solving. Over time, I realized the data work is only half the story. Teams didn't just need dashboards or they needed decisions. You have to communicate those findings to the stakeholders. Automations are there, actual outcomes are there. So that naturally pulled me into the AI product side, and that is how I pivoted my journey from biotech into a data science and AI thing. And the latency and latte happened because I'm in SF Bay Area
Oh,
and a lot of events happening here, and I am meeting a lot of good people, brilliant minds, builders, tech founders. And we talk about a lot of data, we talk about AI, everything. And of course the main reason for starting this podcast is just to come out of the comfort zone. I mean, I haven't used power of networking. I have not realized the LinkedIn properly. So I have started talking to the people, and I have started realizing what are their pain points, what are their challenges. And this is how podcast started. And I wasn't creating anything before for anyone, but now this latency and latte was kind of forcing me to show up for myself, talking to founders, technical leaders who have seen the arc and from no AI to AI, actually, what is happening. So I'm very fortunate that a lot of top voices have been coming on my podcast where they have seen AI versus non-AI. They know exactly the arc, and surprisingly, it's grounding. And honestly, I have been learning a lot from every guest I'm talking to. So
yeah.
that's my whole journey in a nutshell.
So I must say that's such an inspiring journey. It's always fascinating to see how your career path evolves so thoughtfully. It really
Mhm,
gives perspective on bridging different domains. That's really amazing. I'm impressed.
mhm. Thank
So
you.
moving forward, what do you think about when businesses say that they want to adopt AI? What do you
Mhm.
think they are actually picturing and what's the reality?
Yeah, so that's a good question. AI adoption, when company says we want to adopt AI, they usually imagine something very polished.
Yeah.
We have a chatbot and they will take care of our company pain points, or magical chatbot understand our everything nuances about the company. And internal agent is there that takes away all the boring work. But the real AI adoption is not that glamorous or cinematic, I would say. It's more about teaching a robot. For example, if you are teaching a robot to help you, so you have to clean your room because if the room is messy, the robot is gets confused. So you have to clean all the messy data before you feed into the AI workflow. And I remember in 2025, S&P Global report shows only 27% of the enterprises using Gen AI and achieved organized wide adoption. And for that one, you really have to have a strong adoption program, AI adoption program, especially like Gen AI or AI workforce. you are incorporating, you really want to understand why employee or any people, uh, the pain points of the workflow or use case. What are the use case you are using? I would say start with a very basic use case and understand the use case, understand the pain point, and how can that make your life better if you inculcate AI, and what are the improvements will be there in a day-to-day life if you adopt the AI before they start adopting, some of these newer technologies or newer LLMs or newer tools, whatever are there coming up. So adoption piece is very critical here for these AI workforce solutions, right? So adoption is not only to use them, but give confidence to your employer, to your people, to your team, to use them in a very secured platform, to go ahead and to have a certain guardrails, and to go ahead and engage with every aspect of the business. So that is the whole AI adoption. It's just not you are using any AI tool, but it's about the guardrails. It's about giving you the confidence. It's about freeing yourself from a very mundane task. An important point, I would say, is having those use cases solidified, understanding like if you really automate those use cases, how much time you are going to get in your hand, how much time you are going to save, and on a daily basis, and they truly provide value to your businesses. So that is the understanding, a very basic concept here, to understand your workflow, understand your business before you go into a tool selection.
I really love how you point out the gap between expectations and reality. That's really amazing.
Mhm.
So, in your view, what does successful AI adoption really looks like day to day inside a company?
Yeah, that's a good question. And before we dive into this question, I would like to add few points earlier,
Sure.
that when we go for a AI adoption, it's just not the AI adoption. It's more about understanding your data sets, cleaning your data. There are a lot of inconsistency, unstructured data setting, and learn about the data, picking one airflow, which has a friction, understanding the pain points, fixing broken data pipelines, I would say, and writing fallback rules to use AI that doesn't break entire workflow. If you are inculcating AI into a legacy system, so you should have a fallback rules so that the AI doesn't break the whole pipeline or doesn't break the whole workflow. So it's more about stitching AI into a legacy system. It's more about the AI adoption. It's more about, plumbing work where you are stitching all the workflows and making it and putting it into a legacy system. Yeah.
So, yeah,
So,
that's a practical way to think about it.
yeah. So the next question is a successful AI adoption looks like, right? So
Yeah.
surprisingly, it looks very boring. As I mentioned, it's not very glamorous. It's not very, cinematic. Sometimes not using AI is intentional also for the companies because they doesn't know the structure of the data.
Mhm.
And issue, if they use AI, what are the issues they are going to run into plug these tools, and what happens to their data, and do they have data tagging? So it's everything at the data level, so that sometimes if they are not using, they are not very confident on their, they do not have any confidence on their workflows or their data side. But when AI adopted well, I would say it stops feeling like a special project and becomes a part of your regular workflows. People aren't talking about the model anymore, which LLM you
Yeah.
are using. They are more talking about their workflows, which got faster, and how certain tasks now finish in seconds instead of hours. That's the automation workflow they are talking about it. And on the technical side, I would say you'll see a stable data pipelines, predictable model behavior. You are not surprised with the outputs. You can easily monitor what actually catches issues before users notice anything, right? And your team started trusting the system because it behaves consistently. And when does it fail? It fails safely, because you have a fallback rules, as I mentioned, and the system knows when to stop and back off and hand things to the rules, or human, I would say. Human intervention is very important here. And I think these are the important nuances when you successfully adopt AI into any company.
I love how you make it relatable.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we have seen AI projects flop despite good tech. What do you think
Hmm.
that why that happens?
So why AI project fail here? Because people this is a very underestimated part, I would say. Most AI projects fail. They don't fail because of the model LLMs or what are they are using. They fail because of the environmental around the model is weak because the environmental issue. So most failures have very little to do with the model itself. Model is just there, it's eventually gonna help you out. But what are there to get you to the model? They happen because the business problem wasn't defined clearly. You do not understand your business problem statement, or the data feeding was messy, incomplete, inconsistent. A lot of missing values are there, and sometimes everything works in isolation. But the AI never gets integrated into the actual workflow, so nobody uses it. I would say, I have seen teams build excellent AI workflows that ended up abandoned because using them required too many steps. The UI is very complicated, and the output did not fit how many naturally worked. So usually the tech isn't not the problem; it's more about the environment you are around it is more important to take care of it. As I said, we need to have guardrails. We need to have uh, all the fallback rules at a data level. If we understand our data, then inculcating those AI workflows is much easier.
Yeah, that's true. I really second that, it really highlights that success isn't just about technology or AI, but also revolves around people, process, and all, of course, alignment.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
absolutely.
So, how can companies push for innovation without overcomplicating everything?
Yeah, so that is also a good question because everything is AI about everything is AI. A lot of tools are coming into market. I'm talking to a lot of vendors where they are coming up with a lot of their own in-house tools are there, co-pilots are there coming up, and I would say tool indigestion is happening around us. And so my rule is simple here: start small and iterate fast. So that's the pick one painful workflow here. Don't try to AI everything. Try to understand your workflow. If you genuinely need, use AI. Otherwise, do not force yourself to build around AI. So I would say don't AI everything. Build understand your pain points, build prototype. Or there are a lot of, I would say, if you are new to the programming, if you are new to the coding, I would say there are a lot of vibe coding tools are there: Cursor, Replit, Lovable. You can build your MVP, understand the pain point, prototype in a week, because it's good for a MVP level, but definitely for the production level, you need vibe coding doesn't work. You need a hard coding. And once you refine that one, you can just launch in a month, understand what are the nuances of it. And definitely, my research background here makes me ask one question every time when I come up with this problem: that was what is the simplest version of this that still creates value? Instead of just going and making it more complex, I would say just understand the simple pinpoints, start small, and what is the simplest version you can build out of it. If and also if you keep the scope tight, team moves faster and you learn faster eventually. So that's the whole point. So do not AI everything. Try to understand your workflow, and if you genuinely need it, just go and plug in.
I must say, your approach here is very refreshing.
Mhm.
So, when you're building an AI strategy, how do you decide to keep what, how do you decide what to keep and what to cut?
Yeah, so AI strategy, I would say I use three checkpoints here. I have my internal own guardrails to check those checkpoints. Again, we have to go back to our business problem. Does this tie to a real business value? What is our business value? What are our problem statement? What are we trying to communicate? What are our outposts to our business stakeholders? Can we deliver those within a reasonable timeline if we inculcate AI and without AI? And will the end user actually adopt it? If any of this fails, it gets parked. Everything should be around your businesses. And I would say AI can take care of your hard skills, but eventually you have to build your soft skills, creative thinking, talking to the stakeholders, communicating those findings, and telling them why you are building with AI, why you are not using AI. Those are the critical skills and soft skills we should eventually work on. That would definitely highlight over time. Yeah, and
That's
these are the
yeah,
big points. Yeah.
that's very insightful. So, if someone comes to you with a cool AI idea, what's your process to make it real and workable also?
Yeah. So again, I would say here, if we have any cool idea, so we have to understand the turning raw data
Hmm.
AI into something real. So if we have a messy, inconsistent data and we have to make it something tangible out of that one. So when someone brings me an idea, I start by understanding the real problem. What is the problem statement underneath it? Then I check whether the data supports the use case. What is the use case? What are the data we have? What is the data we have? If the foundation is solid, I build a small prototype just to see how the model behaves the real inputs. Whatever data we are feeding, is it matching the output, especially messy imperfect ones? And early, if we go for early testing, I would say then we get to know more about if we need retrieval, if we need fine tuning of the data, or guardrails are definitely we have to inculcate at the data level. But again, we'll get more accurate idea about the guardrails. And once I know the strengths and limits, I would say we can shape it into a very clean workflow that users can rely on. And it's just at the very surface level, because building a retrieval, there is a data retrieval pipeline, and then fine tuning, it's very expensive. But again, if you are going for a MVP, there are a lot of tools coming up where you can low code, no code tool, N8N, Zapier. You can use those tools. You can build your data ingestion pipeline, retrieval pipeline, and you can self-host it, or you can go for a cloud hosting tool also. So you can play around it. There are a lot of tools. You can build MVP very easily, retrieval pipelines very easily. Yeah, so these are the basic check, I would say, and good product strategy respects constraints if we take care of it.
I must say that process makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
So, moving forward, for companies just starting their AI journey, what's a simple, low stress first step for them?
Yeah, so I would say here the low stress would be easiest starting point is to pick one repetitive task, or how are you gonna automate that tiny part of it? Just pick up any use case or tiny task. For example, just pick up any task and think about 20%. How are you gonna automate that one? Something like summarizing tickets, and then or routing emails, or generating first drafts, or any internal task. How are you going to use that one? Pick that workflow. Let's say 20%, think about AI. How are you going to automate that? Small wins build confidence inside the company. And once people see that AI can actually remove frictions, you can test it with your peers and team members. And once they become more open, so you can expand it, and you can understand its momentum, and you can just go for a larger percentage. Earlier you start with small 20%, test it out, and then you can go for a bigger part.
That's really interesting. So, Renika,
Mhm.
you talk a lot about human centered AI. What does that look like in practice?
Yeah. So sometimes it's little different also when we talk when we ask ChatGPT some question. I have seen a lot of people doing make it more humanize it, or do not use dash lines. Now they have removed it, and do
Yeah,
not, yeah, and do not just do not, it should not look like a AI thing, and it should be more humanized. So I mean, I have seen that one, but again, AI cannot be a human. It should be you can I'm not sure AGI and everything, I'm not talking about it, but human-centered AI is about designing system that people feel comfortable using it, I would say, just basic. And it means the tool behaves consistently, avoids surprises outputs, and hallucination is still there,
yeah,
but it gives people enough control to override or correct it. it's not gonna replace human. It's just our friend where we can use it, leverage AI. And the role of AI is here to support decision, not replace any judgment, and when a system respects how human think, how they review information, and where they need reassurance, adoption becomes much easier. And instead of just, we are forcing AI adoption into any workflows. So it becomes very easier if we understand these nuances.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Mhm.
So, with generative AI moving so fast, how do you decide what's worth adopting and what's just the hype?
Yeah, that's a good
Mm.
question. Hype is everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you are using small tool, and even if they are launching any product, hype is everywhere. So I would say I focus on whether the solution, what is our solution? It removes a real bottleneck, and whether the team can maintain
Mm.
it long term. I mean, if you can really stick to that solution for a long term. Sometimes you have a very cool demo, you have a very flashy demo, if a vendor comes out to you and thinking something is production ready, but stability, cost, latency, and drift, it matter a lot over time when you go for a real deployment. So yeah, if tool behaves consistently and can be supported without draining, engineering resources, then it's worth exploring. And you can say this is not a hype, I mean, you can just play around it. And having those checkpoints really help here.
Your approach to separating hype from real, value is really practical. I must say that's really timely insight.
Yeah, I mean, and every company has their own checkpoints when they know that what is
Mm.
hype and what is,
Yeah.
useful in terms of your own data, your workflows. You understand real bottlenecks. So every company has real checkpoints, but these are very high level. These are very important, and high level. I would say cost, latency,
Yeah.
and the drift matter a lot when we are going for a real deployments.
Yeah, that's true. So, what's one AI trend you are genuinely excited about right now and why?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is a good question here. The AI trends and it keeps changing. And one thing I'm honestly excited about is the rise of a smaller purpose-built models, smaller LLMs, I would say.
Yeah.
I have seen team getting very good results if you use
Mm.
Llama 3 or Mistral 7B. And even there is smaller than this also one model. I don't remember. It's, I think, fee model or something smaller than that. And if you fine tune them on some on your company's internal tickets or your support knowledge base, suddenly you have this lightweight assistant, that helps you understand your domain better than a giant model, and that was trained on a very end that was trained on your entire internet, because you have this model and you are just training on your data sets, and they are fast, inexpensive to run. You don't have to worry about the infra, and easy to deploy on a
Yeah.
regular, hardware, or even at the age also. So I have been helping some startup
Mm.
fine tuning 8B, Mistral 8B, for triaging some customer issues, and it outperformed, I would say, the larger models, because it actually understood their specific patterns, their domain, and their workflows. And what I love about these small models, it make AI feel accessible, and you don't need a huge budget or complex infra, and you need your data, a good objective, a problem statement, and few iterations, I would say. And it feels like the early days, or mobile apps. You have simple mobile apps, early days, small, sharp, crisp, and you can use it very well.
I love hearing what sparks your curiosity.
Mhm.
So, if you had one piece of advice for balancing innovation, complexity, and practicality, what would it be?
Yeah. So I would
Mm.
say the biggest advice is would be anchor everything to a real
Mm.
problem instead of chasing ideas, instead of chasing tools, and it should sound futuristic. When you start with an actual pain point, understand the use case, understand the pain point, something people complain about in a Slack every day. pain points. We talk about the workflows. The level of innovation you need becomes obvious when you understand these nuances. You avoid overbuilding because you're focused on that particular pain point. You're actually slowing people down there. If the work starts with people and their day-to-day friction, if it goes at a down level, the balance almost takes care of itself, you know. So do not go for overbuilding. Just try to understand very basic pain points. And again, do not do everything AI. Just try to understand what will be your output without AI. And if you genuinely need AI to have that in your workflow, then just think about the other side. Think about the AI adoption. But just think simple and you'll definitely find the solution.
That's such a powerful piece of advice. I must say that.
Mm-hmm.
So, lastly, you know, at All About AI, we have been exploring AI search visibility everywhere. How do you
Mm-hmm.
think brands can approach it while keeping things innovative, practical, and not overly complex?
Right. So I would say for the brands or anyone, keep your content clean and consistent. AI search system rely on structures, clarity, and context. So I would say the brand should explain what they do in a simple language. It should be consistent. It should avoid keyword, lots of keyword stuffing, uh, and publish content that genuinely useful to the crowd. And the good structure helps AI system help you surface your brand. And there is no tricks, I would say. I mean, just the goal is not to, we are not beating any algorithm or anything, just to have that consistency and clean. And then eventually it will be so useful and reliable that models keep choosing you, what are the content you are using here. So yeah, I mean, just keep it clean and consistent. That's my biggest advice, I would say.
All right. So, your perspective on balancing innovation with practically while staying visible is incredible value.
Mhm.
So, I really appreciate your time and all the insights today. I hope you enjoy our conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much again for this conversation. I had a good time digging into these ideas with you. Thank you so
All
much.
right. So, best wishes. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.